Good day, everyone. My name is Joshua T. Berglan, and I want to welcome you to the World Mayor Experience, Episode 4. Today is going to be absolutely awesome. We have a guest by the name of Paul Levitin. I hope I pronounced that right. I seem to struggle with this, but nonetheless, this is going to be a really interesting conversation because this dude has got it going on. I mean, as far as looking like a Greek god, and just being an overall impressive human being. All of that's great because, I think we, as humans, sometimes we look aesthetically at everything. We look at the appearance and then we see that and go, wow, okay, that's amazing. And that's really about as far as it goes. And that's kind of what social media has done for us, is that we're just looking, and in a way, not that it's always lusting, but we're looking at it in a way of, I want that, I want that, I want that. And we're just looking at an object. We're just looking at a thing. And with that, and that can be enough to motivate some people. But then we use that as motivation and we get there and then we realize that, well, okay, so now I've got this body. I may look good, but what else is there? Put all my energy into having this physique, and look in some kind of way to attract the ladies or to attract whoever it is for you. And then you're, wait, I got nothing else. Like, can you relate to that? Have you ever done that? Where you see something you want, you put all your energy into getting it, and then you get it, and then you realize, well, that wasn't fulfilling. That didn't do anything for me. I lived that life. I lived it, and it sucks. Not that I've had a six-pack that often, just being straight up. I've only had a six-pack a few times, sometimes healthy and sometimes some very, very unhealthy ways. But nonetheless, there's so much more to it. As I've been on my own healing and growing journey and to become the man that I was created to be, one of the things that I've realized is that, you lacking in one area of life, typically, if you're aware of that one area of life that you're lacking, what you soon realize, if you go and try to fill that you lack or replace it or heal it or grow in that area, you realize that, well, actually, there's a lot more areas as well to grow in. And for me, that has been my experience. It's amazing how when I first made my life change, I thought that was it, I thought that was done. And then after my high wore off, not literal high, the spiritual high wears off, I then realized, there's a lot more work to do. Then you do the work and you climb up another mountain, you conquer another demon, you slay another giant, whatever it is for you. For me, it was all those things. Then, okay, I got victory now. I'm healed. I'm all the way back. I am strong. I'm able to do all of these things that I was created to do. Sorry, this not being centered is bugging me. Those of you listening audio only, I move things around. Anyway, that's what that noise was. Anyway, but I now have, for the longest time, I have thought that I can do it alone. And obviously, I have a relationship with the Creator. I'm not going to get into all of the names and all of the specifics because none of that matters. For me, I have a relationship with the Creator, and I'm going to leave it at that. And but I thought it was just me and the Creator was enough to do this. And then, I was by myself, and then I tried to have a relationship, and it failed miserably. And then what I realized about that relationship was that relationship was serving as a mirror for me and how I was showing up. And really what I was getting from that person was showing me how I was really being. Even though in my mind, my perception was that I'm this great and holy man and have it all together and, and really I didn't. And that was sobering. And then I work on that. And then God blesses me with, again, God blesses me with somebody that absolutely is the right person for me. And And even with that, has served as a mirror and showing areas that I get to grow and improve in, because, I can be really, really stubborn. Now, get to our relationship, and our relationship's moving along and everything's wonderful. But then I'm still shooting myself in the foot. I'm still setting myself back some. Like, where'd this come from? Like, why did I lose my crap? Why did I snap at that person? Why did I take so much offense to something that they said? All of these little examples of things that just kept popping up. And just being fully transparent, my relationship with sex has not always been the greatest thing. And even with this determination to be the man that I was created to be, I have blind spots with just how distracted I could get from boobs or sex in general, or fantasizing about anything, not even always sex. And then, and I'm realizing more and more and more that I have more and more blind spots. And so I started about 2 weeks ago down this path of self-mastery. What I was getting to before, when I was talking about not, be thinking I could do it alone, I realized pretty quickly that, and just like you can't really complete a goal if you have a big global vision or a big mission that you want to do work in the community, or you want to help a certain demographic of people, or you're just drawn to a cause, no one can do it alone. And I've realized that the hard way, because for so long tried to do this alone. And what I realized that, and I didn't want to do it alone necessarily, but I felt alone. And I'm realizing that a lot of the reasons I felt alone was because of how I was showing up, how I was presenting myself, how I was giving my opinion and my beliefs to every little thing that really didn't even matter in that situation. Sometimes I would even overshare about my own self and life in times that it really wasn't even appropriate, but for whatever reason would fall back into this default mode and behavior of how I used to be. And one of the ways how I used to be was simply that I was so scared that everyone was going to leave me that I figured, well, I might as well throw out all my bull crap now, because if they like me, they love me. I mean, if they're not going to leave after hearing this, then maybe they'll stay with me. It was like this defense mechanism. But none of it was really inviting. It's like saying, hey, come get to know me. So I started working with a coach, and this is not something I sought out. The coach came to me, and I got to tell you that it wasn't something that I was all excited about. But I realize, and very humbly say this, that I know I can't do it alone. I can't, any of these big dreams and goals that I have, and I have a lot of big dreams and big goals, not just for the community I live in Northfield, Minnesota, which has become home so quickly, I can't even begin to tell you. But also the global vision, the world's mayor experience, not what you're watching today, but what it's going to be and what it's growing into. Even the youth media literacy centers, building those all over the world, all that stuff, like that is not like that I can't do that alone. I can't do it alone. And there's sometimes where I felt alone and I felt like no one liked me, or I thought all of these delusional thoughts. And really what it's come down to, and what I'm learning from coaching, is that sometimes I say things that doesn't need to be said, and that pushes people away. Sometimes by being aggressive in my nature and even my desire and my heartfelt passion to serve and give back and to do good in the community and do good around the world, sometimes that enthusiasm can scare the crap out of people, because what do shady people do? Shady people come on strong. Like, you think about a narcissist. What does a narcissist do? They love bomb you to death. And they rope you in, and then you're become susceptible because you've dropped your boundaries, and that's a whole other conversation. But one of the things that I'm learning in self-mastery, other than speaking less, being less opinionated, sticking more to real truth, verifiable truth, absolute truth, as opposed to perceptions of truth. It's kind of hard because I'm an opinionated person. In the world of social media, I realize that, I've now don't tweet 90% of what I would normally tweet or post. And it's different, but it's changing my life because I'm avoiding fights and arguments, and now all of a sudden it's like I'm more approachable. Because honestly, it doesn't matter what my beliefs are. It doesn't matter what yours are. You're still a human being and you still have needs. You're still worthy of love, and as am I. And whether we believe the same thing or not, it doesn't change the fact that you're worthy of love, and my job and my duty and my purpose is to love and be free and eliminate anything that takes away from my freedom. And one of the things that takes away from my freedom are those little parts, those little alters, those little versions of mini-me's that are inside, those separated parts of myself that have come from trauma or, perceptions of beliefs or perceiving what other people say or believe about me. All of these things that add up over time. There's a lot of them. Today's lesson, day 15 of this 28-day process, was about surrender. And one of the things that it talked about was free will. And, I always thought of free will was this gift and like, hey, well, God gave us free will. We can do whatever we want. But if life is a paradox, what is free will? Yeah, we have free will, but does it mean we should exercise it? Because free will gets us in a lot of trouble. Free will says, I'm going to say what I want, tell you what I believe, tell you what to believe, tell you that you're wrong, tell you that I'm right. Free will is I'm going to go sleep with whoever I want. Free will is I'm going to curse you out and I'm not going to give a crap. Free will is just going to do whatever I want. But is it best for me? Probably not. Surrender is surrendering all of that free will for the Creator's will. And I believe, even though we have the Creator, a piece of the Creator inside of us, in my belief, which I'm trying not to tell you what I believe, but I absolutely believe that we have the parts of the Creator inside of us. And, and typically, and I think about truth, the only thing that's ever been proven to be true in my life, that's an absolute truth that I can verify, is the truth that comes from within. Now, do I always listen to that truth? Oh, no, I don't. I'm working on that. That's part of slowing down and speaking less and speaking slower, which is also very difficult for me. I feel like I'm really passionate. But surrendering my free will for the Creator's will for my life allows me to move freely and move in freedom. And it also allows me to love the way I want to love. So, thank you so much for listening to that. Obviously, there's a much deeper dive, but today, just wanted to share those thoughts with you. Thank you for listening to the opening monologue. And today, we are going to discuss with an amazing guest. You don't want to miss this. Because like most interviews, I didn't spend a lot of time preparing, but I do know where I want to take this conversation. And this conversation today is going to be absolutely powerful because our guest, who I started talking about at the very beginning of all this, is not just the person that you look at and go, wow, they got it all together. And, from a physical part, but this dude's doing the work. This dude inspires me. This dude is the representation of what it's like of having mind, body, and soul together by the whole package of someone that is working towards self-mastery. And then self-mastery is not so much as egotistical as it may sound, but it's mastering ourselves so that we can be what we were created to be, not just for ourselves and our family, but for other people, because ultimately our gifts and our talents are about others, not ourselves.